guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Write this down. Write it down. You like writing things down.
Write that down. I don't have a pencil.
Well, remember that then.
A lot of drama here as we wind down the 2024 OG Write That Down season. 2 weeks left. The season runs from Super Bowl to Super Bowl, so the new league year on Write That Down is less than 2 weeks away. And we have a really tight race for the batting average title, for the home run title. So we'll get to all of that. We'll get to our accountability session and our predictions here. We'll lay it all out. Presented in part by MSP Plumbing and Heating today, Judd.
Yes, indeed. And here is the thing with them. Commitment is the most important word that my friends at MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air have for more than a century now. Families have relied on them for all their plumbing, drains, heating, and cooling needs. 100% family-owned and operated business. MSP committed to taking care of your family. That means if there's a plumbing problem, they've got it fixed. That means this time of year it's cold out. If you have a furnace problem, guess what? Don't despair. Give them a call right now. Get $50 off any HVAC or plumbing repair. 651-615-4292, or check them out at their website, MSP, or call MSP.com. Call MSP.com. It's not a good time of year to have a furnace problem. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air will make sure that is solved. Call MSP.com and find out why commitment is such an important word to them.
I think this is an unprecedentedly a word. This is an unprecedentedly. It's a very close race, like the closest race. An unprecedented close race.
That's
I think.
correct.
Okay.
I'm the last person to confirm this with, but that sounds correct.
I worked on a copy desk at the start.
Yeah, Judd was like a professional copy
editor.
Unprecedented
race.
Yeah. Right. And that we had anyone, I mean, obviously, like there's like Declan's been leading the batting average race, but it's all very tight from 1 through 4 in both home runs and batting average. So one prediction gone sideways in any accountability session could sway this thing.
One slip.
Yep. This is Josh Allen at the end of this thing, man. It's third down. It's 4th down and 5. You got to make sure that you're identifying the protection the right way. Wow. But here's how Write That Down works. For going back 10 plus years, we have kept track of our predictions on either this podcast or the old radio show, the old 4-hour 1500 ESPN radio show. 3 predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of batting averages and home runs. And listeners, if you want to be like Nick and participate as a guest listener predictor, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app. There's a feedback tab, and we'll get you scheduled. Even Vinny, the Vinster's back there all
He's trying to get comfortable.
Up.
Let's see here. There he is.
Yeah, he's finally.
He looks very comfortable to me.
He's very
comfortable there.
He usually likes the pillows, and I think he got a little too hot.
Judd's feeling a little hot here after these 2 predictions went sideways. You said Royce Smalley would be named to the Twins Hall of Fame class for 2025. He deserves part of a World Series team, broadcast career.
Announcing that he was going to be done he came out and said, "I'm done announcing. I really loved it, blah, blah, blah." I thought it was a slam dunk. I thought he had been told.
He's getting screwed.
And by the way, you gave me heat because I vote, and you're like, so you cast a vote.
Yeah,
See?
well, this is the Write That Down karma gods.
I was wrong, but I knew I might be wrong.
Yeah, well, ethically, this was a questionable prediction, and this is what the Write That Down gods do.
Don't find it to be ethically questionable at all.
You said the Red Wings. I missed this one a couple months ago. You said Red Wings coach Derek, is it Lalonde, will be the next head coach fired. Yep. Well, the Blackhawks coach was fired like a week after you made this prediction. So,
yeah, because he was fired. Lalonde was fired too, but yeah.
But it was after December 6th.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just verify.
Okay.
Because there's been like a handful of coaches fired.
Yeah. Yeah. The Blackhawks fired Luke Richardson. I think you're right about that. I think he was the next coach. Yeah.
Well, they waited till 2 days after Christmas, I guess, to fire Derek Lalonde.
I mean, it's a good time to fire guys.
December 27th. But the Blackhawks coach was fired on December 6th.
I got it. You're right.
All right. I said the Buffalo Bills would make the Super Bowl back, I don't know, early in the season. Wow. Listeners, Christian said Justin Jefferson will win or come in second place for NFL MVP. Not going to happen. And Shane said Kirk Cousins would win 2024 NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Not going to happen. Declan, you said this is actually kind of a bad beat. You said the Timberwolves would have multiple players named to the Rising Stars roster All-Star Weekend. And if I were to have told you, hey, Leonard Miller is going to be named, how good are you feeling about this prediction? You'd say, well, if Leonard Miller's on the team, then like Dillingham or somebody. So they only named, they have a G League portion of the roster, and then they have rookies and second-year guys. And they only named one Timberwolf, Leonard Miller, for his G League dominance to the Rising Stars. Dillingham did not make.
In the event of injury or non-participation, if another guy enters the fold,
we'll come back.
Visit this, right? Because I feel like personally feel like this is a little premature because the game hasn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the NFL where guys are banged up.
But in the tight race of a completion percentage, I think this is a premature taking it off the board because the game is, a week away?
Well,
I'm just saying,
the game is after.
Are we allowing? Okay, all right.
I mean,
the injury replacement thing. I'm so sick of the injury replacement.
That's because you hate the Pro Bowl, which is fine.
Here's where Declan's contention comes into play.
Okay.
So the Rising Stars game is Friday, February 14th.
Yeah.
But the Write That Down season ends the weekend before that. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl, right? It'd be February, 9th. So Declan is contesting that this prediction has to stay clear until February 14th, until we know what that final roster is. Thus, preventing him from taking the L on this until after the league year cycle's over. Wow. I mean,
I think personally it should not be nullified.
I have issues with this. Like you said,
the roster came out, but I get it. It's not a final roster. Go ahead, Judd, chime in.
I feel like you would have needed to back this up with will be named or will be a replacement.
But it's implied, like it's by not clarifying that.
It's the roster.
Yeah, this is how we do it. Like if you were to have said Brian O'Neill will be named as a Pro Bowler. Well, he was named, I think, as a backup. I don't even know why they do this.
He was like the fourth choice. Yeah.
How are you injured? They don't even play the game anymore, so I don't really get how that works. But you would get that point because Brian O'Neill through that process was named a Pro Bowler.
Okay.
So, unless Lawyer Chase has a different take on this, I think Declan's correct. We do have to wait. Yeah. We technically have to wait on this.
So it's out of the year then. So it's it's a next year prediction.
It would come off the board at the beginning of the 2025. Write that down.
Right,
season.
For the next.
But it doesn't hurt. In this case, it would hurt my completion percentage for this year, and it still might take the L, but
the most important thing for you is you don't take this L in a closely contested batting average race for 2024. Wow, this is the game. This is the game within the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down. But I would probably be fighting for the same thing. So with that, you can ignore Declan. Declan's average is actually 316 still, 9 points above me at 307. Judd's at 291. Listeners at 287. Listeners lead with 14 home runs. I have 13. Declan and Judd both with 11 home runs apiece. So all of these are like if the listeners go 5 for 6 and rip off a bunch of hits here, and Declan takes an over, anything can happen.
It's good stuff.
Career stats: Dex is batting actually 352. Judd 322. I'm at 277. Listeners 265. Judd leading with 352 career hits. Listeners with 69 career home runs. So okay, let's bring Nick in here, our guest listener predictor, jumping in. Making your second appearance all time on Write That Down. Nick, what's going on, man? Oh, we can't hear Nick.
Oh, did I mute myself?
There we go.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, so I was hoping to be on Write That Down a little bit later this season, but with the Vikings doing what the Vikings do, we're here in January, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
So, yeah, do you feel pressure here? I mean, like, there's a lot riding on the last 2 weeks of the 2024 season. I mean, the listeners need some hits. What's your strategy? What kind of pressure do you feel?
Well, honestly, I didn't even know these were the last two episodes, and so basically all of my things are going to be stuff that would come into effect next year, but we'll see.
Nick's this is a playoff game. I didn't even no one told me.
I didn't even know until I showed up. I'm trying to channel my inner Jaden Daniels and just kind of, nothing phases me right now.
Amazing, man. So we're going to start with Nick and then go over to Judd, Declan, back to me. We'll make 3 trips around the room here. And the predictions, the only rules are really they just must be quantifiable. So let's fire this up.
Write this down.
Nick, what is your first prediction?
All right, so the first one is I'm going to make sure I get all of this right because it's a bit of a tricky one here. But I think that Kwesi is going to cook again in the offseason. So write that down. The Minnesota Vikings will sign at least 4 free agents that make the 53-man roster. And of those free agents that they sign, at least 3 of them will start a regular season or postseason game.
Okay. At some point during their Vikings tenure, right?
The 2025 season.
The 2025 season. Okay. Got it. Love it, dude. Coming out
Write
swing.
this down.
All right, Judd.
Rob Dillingham will start a game for the Wolves within the next 5.
Okay.
So within the next 5 games, he will get a start.
Boy, Finchie's so stubborn, man. He was not happy with. We talked about it a little bit with Doogie, but he was. I think he said it starts with the guys at the top too. So I think he was pissed at Ant.
Well,
we could talk about this on Flagrant House today, but yeah, they should just run him out there, figure out. I've seen some different. There's a bunch of like Wolves trade machine stuff. Declan put something out there, like a De'Aaron Fox thing. We're trying to figure out what they can and can't do with the second apron.
That's the problem. Yeah, I think De'Aaron Fox is very difficult.
Yeah, there's because it puts them over the second. There's some random.
But someone had an iteration of a trade that did land them De'Aaron Fox, but it's so complicated with the second apron penalties. But there was one where it was like, would you essentially consider shipping out Rob Dillingham in a deal that also gets you? Would you bail on Rob Dillingham if it landed you De'Aaron Fox? And I don't know. There's a lot of juicy stuff out there. We have 1 week until
Write this down.
the trade deadline. Dex.
All right, I'll make a Wolves prediction too. Write this down. The Timberwolves will acquire a former NBA All-Star between now and the end of the regular season. So the reason I'm going to go post-trade deadline is because some guys get bought out, right? Like they get traded and they're a dump, or they get bought out and then they sign like a veteran minimum, or they sign a 1-year thing with the team after the trade deadline or maybe towards the end of the year. I want that like little loophole to backdoor this. But the Tim Conley working in the shadows, who are they going to get? I think it's going to be an NBA All-Star, a former NBA All-Star. So write it down.
I do have bad news for you that the Wolves as a second apron team are not allowed to participate in the buyout market. So
they're not. Dang.
So dude,
they can't do anything.
The second apron.
This is literally like.
But this is why. Well, you can't trade Carl. Right. You can't. This is why you're sitting you literally in the second apron. You can't take player A, player B, who makes $15 million. This guy makes 15 to go get an expensive player. It handcuffs you.
Yes.
But Carl.
But the issue for executives, us, fans, is this. The new CBA is so convoluted, no one understands it yet, aside from like three legal department people working for the league. Seriously. That's the problem.
We rip baseball all the time for, well, he's pre-ARB. Well, now he's ARB 1, and now he's ARB 2. And he didn't accumulate 130 at-bats, so his service time gets to carry over. Like, Jesus, can we make this more simpler for everyone to understand?
This is more confusing though, because like the rules are so draped in like legal talk that it's like, oh my God, just Uncle Mercy, as our friend Doogie would like to say.
So actually, an amendment to what I just said. I think so. The NBA second apron prevents there's a spending limit that prevents teams from signing buyout players for more than the league minimum. So you may be able to. There may still be a way, but it's like, dude, it's
All right.
wild. So good luck to you on that.
Thank you.
Okay, the Timberwolves. So they just hit a season high, 4 games over 500. They have not been 4 games over 500 all year. And their upcoming schedule, so they play at Phoenix tonight, a back-to-back at Utah, and then Washington and Sacramento. So those are the 4 games they play before next week's. Write that down. It's kind of a tough back-to-back, and that you're traveling. Utah kind of sucks, but write this down. The Timberwolves, before next week's, write that down, at some point will be 5 games above 500 or more. So they can accomplish that by either beating. You have that from like a previous.
Yeah, from a previous prediction. Like they'll at some. I think it was between now and the All-Star break. I made it like a few weeks ago, being like they'll get to 5 games over.
Games.
Yeah.
So they would, if they win tonight, boom, it hits. If they lose tonight, then I need them to like dig out the rest of this trip or the rest of this week. Mm-hmm. So they will get to 5 games over 500 before next week's. Write that down. Write it down.
Write this down.
All right, back to Nick.
All right, so I'm going to do I don't know if this is a Kirk Cousins check down here, but this will be for the all Minnesota sports teams. So one of the Minnesota sports teams, either the Timberwolves, the Vikings, the Twins, the Wild, what have you, will win a playoff game or series in their upcoming season.
Okay. So it could be a wild card round win for the Vikings, or it could be the Wild. The Wild.
The Wolves might win their series next season.
Does play-in count?
Yeah, I think playing. Does playing count? Because
game.
It's not a playoff though. It doesn't count.
And those don't count towards playoff statistics, right? Those are like, are they regular season statistics?
No, they don't count for anything.
They don't count at all, which is absolutely ridiculous.
You could literally score 100 points.
They got to figure that out.
A Will Chamberlain.
They got to figure that out. They got to find a place for those stats.
It's literally. I mean, dude, you could score 100 points Wilt Chamberlain style, and it would not be placed anywhere in the NBA's record books.
Mm-hmm.
Well, playoff game, like the Wolves or even the Wild could win a playoff game, and that's still part of this prediction. So
series though.
Well, to make it correct, to make it a little bit more difficult, I'm going to say series. I have faith that some Minnesota sports team will win something in their next upcoming season.
They'll win a round. Is basically
right.
All right, back to Judd.
So we got some unfortunate news yesterday from the Wild. Kirill Kaprizov undergoing surgery, and here's what we know: lower body. The doctor?
LBI.
Don't know. The surgery date? Don't know. Don't know anything. It's just, but we're told it's not season ending, but it's week to week. So with that information, I'm going to give you this. Kirill Kaprizov.
Don't they have a big break, though? This is a great time to be hurt. They have like a 3-week break, don't they?
2-week break.
2-week break?
Yeah. But you know what? Okay, so let's do some math here. Lower body. If it's a knee, his season's done. Like if you have to cut the knee or arthroscopically repair the ACL, his season's done. It's not his feet, because his feet are fine. His legs, I think, are fine. It's either a hernia or a groin. That's what it is, okay? Like, this is not hard. Therefore, those two things are very, very fluid. He tried to come back, clearly didn't have as much ability to skate, so write this down. Kirill Kaprizov will not play another regular season game this season.
Oh, wow.
So he's not going to play another regular season game. Don't give me this. Oh, man. He's got.
But he could come back for the playoffs and help Nick's prediction. Right?
He could. No, but here's the problem. This happened in March of 2023, I believe.
Yeah.
He got hurt at Winnipeg, came back for the last 2 regular season games, and the playoff series that went 6 games against Dallas, and he scored 1 goal and 1 point.
Yeah.
Don't come back for the playoffs and just hit cruise control. No.
Yeah, don't bring the star player
you
back
are.
to the team.
Well, this league,
Just call him soft. I know you want to.
Oh,
Just call him
no,
soft right now.
This is not a Kirill Kaprizov thing. What frustrates me beyond belief is a league that's in bed with gambling. Everyone else tells you the injury, the doctor, the date of the surgery, gives you an immediate... Like the Timberwolves the league sends out updates, right?
Yeah, the Wolves did, and the Wolves, what's funny, on the DiVincenzo injury update, the first one was like, oh, he's got a grade 3 sprain, and everyone's like, well, a grade 3 sprain is like a tear or turf toe.
Correct.
And then the second one came out, and they said, okay, it's turf toe, all right? It's turf toe. It's going to be a while.
We know the doctors that operate on football players. We know the doctors that operate on baseball players. Like, this is well known. We don't even know when he's going to have a surgery or what it's for. No, he's not soft, just to be very, very clear. He ain't soft. But this league, get your act together.
More on Judd's Hockey Show, multiple days a week.
This has been a long thing. You can't be involved with gambling and not be at least trying to be upfront about what's wrong with people.
All right, the Dexter.
Write this down.
All right, I have a few on the board, few options on the board I want to get out. Phil, do I have 3 Royal Rumble predictions on the board, or do I have just 2?
Let's see here.
I know I have at least 2.
This is very Judd-like of you.
You've got Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble. John Cena makes it to the Final 4, but not the Final 2. Mm-hmm. And then you have... I thought you had one like way earlier. I think those are the only 2. Those are the only 2 that are on the board here. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to make something with the Women's Rumble. I know Charlotte Flair's coming back, which is awesome. Yeah. She's the favorite to win. I don't want to just make that one though, because I think Becky's gonna come back too, but that's just only been rumored. It's not for sure.
Judd, if Becky comes back, what do you think her chances are to win the Women's Royal Rumble?
Becky's pretty good, very solid, but I don't think she fits what they want for the script.
Okay. That's
my opinion.
We'll take that into consideration for Declan's prediction here.
All right, I'll make this. I'll do this. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, the final 2 in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Oh, look at this.
I'll do that.
Let's go.
And
I think that would be that's a home run if that happens.
I don't
specific enough.
I don't know what they're gonna do with the Women's Royal. They have a great collection, but I don't know who is the person that they want to push over right now. They've kind of pushed everyone at some point, so I don't know who that next person is for them to push over. Maybe Io Sky, actually. I could see Io winning it.
Yeah, Judd, what do you think? Io Sky?
Io Sky. Oh, just a great performer.
She is.
Write this down.
Io Sky.
Okay, I'll give you my Royal Rumble parlay here too, since we're doing it. Write this down. 3-item parlay. Okay. John Cena, who's the odds-on favorite for the men right now, will not win the Royal Rumble. So I'll take the field. Mm-hmm. Second leg of the parlay, Seth Rollins will be in the final 2. Ooh. And third leg, Charlotte will be in the final 2 for the women. So that's my 3-item parlay. Royal Rumble. LFG. Let's go.
Write this down.
All right, back to Nick for your third and final.
All right, so for this last one, I'm going to go back to the Vikings. So in my Dynasty League, I picked up J.J. McCarthy earlier in the year. He's been sitting on my IR slot. So, I kind of view myself on the same level as Kwesi here when it comes to GMing. So
yeah, that's what people say about you, Nick, for sure.
Right,
yeah.
right. And his future, just like mine, is now tied to J.J. McCarthy. So write this down. J.J. McCarthy will have the best statistical season of a Vikings rookie quarterback in these 3 categories: total yards, total touchdowns, and completions.
Okay.
Nice.
Love it, dude. Love it. Nick coming out swinging. Nick, since you've got this life-changing platform right now, is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that helped you get here?
Yeah, so I already thanked, the people that brought me into this existence of a Minnesota sports fan the last time I was on. But what I'd like to do, though, is to shout out to a new member of the Minnesota Vikings sports family, my friend Vanessa from Germany. I actually recruited her from the Patriots. She used to be a Patriots fan. And then she came to visit us back in November, and she got to see her first Vikings game against the Cardinals. So
nice.
Shout out to Vanessa for coming to the light side.
All right. Yeah.
Transfer portal.
Yep,
right.
yep.
It's a good time to bail off the Patriots. I think it's a real good time.
For sure.
Love it, man. Nick, thank you for coming
Write this
on.
down.
Yeah,
Good luck
thank
with your
you.
predictions, and we'll see you again sometime, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
See ya.
All right, there he is, guest listener predictor, Nick. Before we make our final predictions here, I want to tell you about the Pep's Legit Pizza that I had on Saturday night. It's a life-changing experience.
Get one of these.
Me
It's
too.
really good.
At Lund
Seriously.
Byerly's.
Yeah, that's where I grabbed a couple for the weekend at Lund's Byerly's. Any store that has groceries and a frozen section of pizzas probably has one here in the Twin Cities, but stone-baked, cracker-thin crust, zesty tomato sauce, whole milk mozzarella. On Saturday, I had the mushroom and sausage edition of the Pep's Legit Pizza. Okay. Cut that thing into squares like a good Minnesotan. It's very throwback pizza parlor vibes, and it is, I think, the best frozen pizza I've had. So, again, just walk into a grocery store and find a Pep's Legit Pizza and have an authentic at-home pizza parlor experience. All right.
Write this down.
Judd, your final prediction.
Okay, it's been coming. We've talked about this a ton. It's going to be made official at some point here. It might be just after the season concludes, but Mike Conley will retire after this season.
I love how you are just pushing you're pushing, trying to push Mike Conley out of this.
Mike Conley will retire after this season. Well, I mean, that doesn't mean he won't become a coach. He could be a great coach. He could be an executive.
Could be. Yep.
He has a bright future. He is a young man in the world, but he is long in the beard in the playing career.
Long in the beard.
He is. He's been doing it for a long time. He's been great, but he's not dumb. I don't think he's going to continue to try to force this.
Yeah.
Write this down.
Okay. Dex.
All right, write this down. Joe Mauer will be a limited partner or involved in some fashion in the next Twins ownership group. Disclaimer, I have heard nothing about this. I know he spoke about it kind of at Twins Fest over the weekend on a panel, but I have not heard anything about Mauer being involved, so I'm removing my Twins beat podcasting role and ears here. I'm just saying in some fashion, he'll be a partner. He'll be involved in the next ownership group.
It was mentioned in that big story that just had a graph, right? About Ishbia came in to talk to a guy. I forget the whole story, but
it was on ESPN.
They've been going through like all the Minnesota sports luminaries who could potentially be a part of it. And there was a list of like 6, 7, or 8. Torrey Hunter was on the list, KG. I think Mauer.
There's a lot of speculation about this thing. Very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it would be smart, even if it was just a sliver, just to get. That's the thing. Like the Polads have been like the least exciting and least innovative ownership group.
Yeah.
They're so soft spoken and they're just the antithesis of excitement. And fans feel it more now than they've ever felt it. So coming in, even if it's just like, hey, you got like a 0.5% of ownership, but what? KG's involved and he's sitting in a suite at Target Field.
In retrospect, it's too bad that they didn't line the sale up with the opening of the new ballpark. Because like when the Twins,
15 years ago?
Yeah, in 2010. Because I don't think I think Jim just took it. Like he took on the team, right? But I don't think like Jim ever like loved being the guy. And the thing, when they won the 2 World Series, the thing to keep in mind is Carl had bought the team in 84, but his wife, Eloise, loved baseball. Like she was at all the games. And I think that the interest, like a lot of it was hers, which is awesome. But it just feels like since she passed, and then Carl passed as well. Now, Carl doesn't get a pass here because he did offer the team up for contraction. So that's a big strike against him. But it just feels like there's just been this ambivalence. Like if they're good, great. If they're not good, okay. But like it would be nice to have somebody who's passionate about actually owning the franchise again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, even just like pretend to be passionate.
Well, like the Wilfs are, right? Like the Wilfs are passionate. Leopold is passionate.
Yeah. I have a question, and are you comfortable at all sharing the crazy information that you received like third hand that you were texting me about yesterday?
Well, first of all, you've got to give me a cover. So this is pure speculation. I'm very comfortable sharing it, but this is not reporting at all. I was told this by a friend that talked to a plugged-in former Twins, actually farmhand, who's still in town here, and is up on things.
But someone who, and I can confirm, someone who has been very plugged into
Yes.
Major League Baseball for 20 years.
And knows people in baseball. So like this came from, so this is like fifth hand, but yes, I'm very comfortable sharing this. It's just not reporting. That he said what he has heard, and one of these names I buy and one of them I don't. So just from my personal point of view, that he heard that they actually had that sniffing around, probably the best way to frame it, right, Phil?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos, which I buy completely,
Oh.
and Elon Musk, which I'm out on. I'm not buying that at all. Could his people have made some type of call? I guess.
Well, just to be clear, I am in on either one of those absurd 400 billion net worth.
Bezos could do, but I mean, he tried to buy the Commanders,
because you wouldn't be buying it at this point. Here's the thing: if one of the, let's say Bezos, for instance, if that dude were to, because like I don't know, Elon's over there running Tesla, Twitter, and trying to run the government, the Doge, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But if you're like, neither one of them would be super hands on, but they don't need a Major League Baseball team. They're literally worth like they're worth $500 billion.
Yeah.
The operations of a baseball team, maybe making or losing $50 million net in a year, is irrelevant. Like it's not worth their time.
Right.
Unless Jeff Bezos is just obsessed with wanting to win a World Series and it's just a hobby, in which case he would spend to the level of the Dodgers and the Mets, because it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter.
Right.
To you.
It's not the market. I'm just saying, like.
I hope this gets aggregated. By the way,
No, it would be hilarious.
Bring me the news. I'm sure.
But I'm not. But I'm not.
Judd heard from a guy that heard from a guy
who heard
over
from
beers
another
from a guy.
Well, you go certain places, you hear things, right?
Click, 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 click.
Oh man.
But yeah,
Just
this is not
buried
reporting.
28 minutes into an episode.
Write this down.
Okay. Final prediction here. All right, Dex, did you go already?
Yes, that was my final.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Write this down.
Jeff Bezos will buy the Twins.
Yeah.
Do it.
And Elon, they're going to partner, and they're going to bring in Zuck.
They're going to play on Mars. Target Field is being moved. Where'd Target Field go? That's on Mars now.
It's on Mars now.
Okay, I know that like Tom Brady has been he's been like prevented from being in the production meetings and stuff because he's an owner of the Raiders. But write this down. Fox will find a way leading up to the Super Bowl to have Tom Brady interviewing Patrick Mahomes or conversing with Patrick Mahomes on camera.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have a goat and a goat
I think that's legal.
on camera doing something for the Super Bowl lead up. Write it down. Now, it's kind of vague, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you know, like they're both sitting across from each other with their rings and talking about goat stuff for the Fox Super Bowl pregame or whatever. Write it down.
I buy it totally, yeah.
So I don't think but they'll find a way. It's like, come on, guy. Hey, league, we got to get the goats in a room together here leading up to the Super Bowl, right? Talk about how Patrick's chasing Tom, but Tom beat Patrick in 2 playoff games. To make it happen.
To Declan's long-held gripe, are we finally going to get, because like the CBS pregame now is really pretty good.
It's better.
Like they've got some really good guys there. Are we finally going to get the Fox shake up? Because I would actually, if I could, I would move Brady to the studio.
Yep, that's fine.
But my God, you're right. Like that Fox thing, they just
can't
bring
watch
it. They just bring it back. I don't watch it either, but they just bring it back every time I turn on. Like Michael Strahan's young. Gronk ain't that good. Gronk ain't that good.
Well, Gronk is like, they're trying to make Gronk into a serious analyst.
Right.
And he's not. Like, he needs to be. Gronk would be great on an Inside the NBA TNT if the format was a little loosey-goosey and he's kind of the village idiot who chimes in with a strong opinion, but he's clowning around. You can't put Gronk in a suit with like a highlighter and a pen and ask him to give a serious football take. It doesn't. It's weird.
But what's funny is when the Fox show started in '94, it was like that.
Yeah, because Bradshaw was like young in his 50s.
30
And he was
years
funny.
ago. Yeah. Yeah, 30
Right.
years ago when those
But what
guys
I'm
were
saying
nice
is-
and young and spry, instead of having the same show 30
Yeah.
years later with guys
Yeah.
that can't even pronounce the players' names and team names in the fastest 2 minutes.
And you don't need a desk filled with
God.
people, which TNT also has shown.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. It's kind
CBS,
of.
not bad.
I know
Fox,
that
awful.
TNT, and every time I flip on, like, you watch like an ESPN college football game during the regular season, or like a college basketball game or something, and if the formula has been the same for decades, where you get a former Big Ten network, like we're going to be really serious about the Gophers in Iowa. It's like, no, I don't care who. I'm sorry, like, all due respect, I don't need Robbie Hummel giving me a detailed breakdown of Illinois' zone defense in the first half.
Yep.
Like, have fun for
You sure
12
about
minute.
You sure about that?
That was an unnecessary Robbie Hummel drive-by.
Wow.
But
Yeah, I mean, Robbie Hummel seems like a great guy. I
he
will
is a great guy.
I will say this as far as CBS goes: when James Brown steps down, just make Burleson the host.
Yeah, Burleson's he's very buttoned up. He's a pro.
He's really good.
Sometimes I feel like he's almost like operating in his own soundbite world and not necessarily because
Yeah.
he's got his
Yes.
own like polished 30-second soundbite, and then the rest of the team kind of interacts. But
Yes, that's true.
yeah. Anyways, those are the write that down predictions here.
Write this down.
Coming down to the wire, drama in all of the categories. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd, the only show in America that puts statistics next to our predictions.